Hi, this is David Comfort from Democracy Action Network. What if I told you that America accidentally solved inequality once before, and we have the receipts to prove it? Here's what's actually wild. Between 1940 and 1950, income inequality in America just collapsed. Like, fell off a cliff. The gap between rich and poor that had been massive for decades suddenly shrunk to levels we can barely imagine today. Ever notice how when boomers talk about the good old days, they're not completely wrong? From the 1940s to the 1970s, a family at the 95th percentile, richer than 95% of Americans, only made about 2.4 times what the median family made. Today, they make 3.5 times as much. But here's the kicker. Even within the top 1%, it's gotten absolutely bonkers. The top 0.01% are pulling away from everyone else so fast it's like they're in a different economic universe. This is honestly crazy, but economists have a name for what happened in the 1940s. They call it the Great Compression. And get this, it wasn't gradual. It happened in basically one decade, right during World War II. Inequality had been sky high in the 1920s, think Gatsby-level wealth gaps, then boom. Suddenly we had the most equal society in American history. Now here's where it gets interesting. Everyone's been blaming globalization and robots for today's inequality, right? But the math just doesn't add up. Sure, trade with China affected some manufacturing jobs, but Paul Krugman, who literally won a Nobel Prize for understanding trade, breaks down why that's not the main story. Same with technology. Like high school teachers and CEOs both have college degrees, but their paychecks tell very different stories. So what actually happened? Here's what's wild. It's about power. Look at this pattern. Inequality crashes in the 1940s when unions were strongest and FDR's New Deal had massive influence. It stays low for decades. Then around 1980, right when Reagan gets elected and union membership starts plummeting, inequality takes off like a rocket ship. Ever notice how the problems that seem impossible are often the ones we've already solved before? That's what makes this story so incredible. We're not trying to invent some new economic system from scratch. We literally have a playbook from the 1940s through the 1970s when regular families could afford houses, college, and retirement on one income. And here's the thing that gives me so much hope. The Great Compression didn't happen because of some magical economic forces. It happened because people organized, fought for better policies, and changed the rules of the game. When workers had more bargaining power through unions, when we had stronger financial regulations, when we invested in education and infrastructure, inequality stayed manageable. This is honestly the most encouraging economic story I know, because it means none of this is inevitable. The extreme inequality we're seeing now, it's not some natural law of capitalism or globalization. It's a choice. We chose policies that concentrated wealth at the top, which means we can choose different policies. Think about it. If a generation dealing with the Great Depression and World War II could build the most prosperous middle class in history, what could we do with today's technology and knowledge? We know what works. Strong unions, progressive taxation, investing in education, regulating finance properly. The tools are right there. What if I told you that the biggest economic challenge of our time is actually just a really complex puzzle, and we already have most of the pieces? That's what this data shows us. Every time in history when working people have organized and demanded their fair share, they've gotten it. Every time we've invested in broad-based prosperity, instead of just helping the wealthy get wealthier, the whole economy has grown stronger. The wild part is we're living through a moment where people are waking up to these patterns. Young people especially are not buying the story that extreme inequality is just how things have to be. They're asking the right questions, connecting the dots between corporate power and political power, between union strength and wage growth. So yeah, the numbers are pretty stark right now. But here's what actually gives me chills in the best way. We've done this before, and we can absolutely do it again. The Great Compression wasn't magic. It was millions of people deciding they deserved better and then organizing to get it. And honestly, that spirit is alive and well today. We just need to remember that we're way more powerful than we think when we work together. This is David Comfort from Democracy Action Network. Peace.